All right, so I want to go ahead and make another video about the fertility mode reloaded, and I really want to explain things because I think people are kind of confusing what it is I'm trying to do here. Fertility mode reloaded is not going to be the pimp my ride version of fertility mode. That was already done. Subhuman already did a lot of work on that. There's a ton of plugins people made for that years ago, and and that's just how that was. That's not how I designed this fertility mode. I chose to climb a freaking mountain to get in touch with Naru and others, because I wanted the simplicity of the original. And the reason being is because, you know, if you're running a lot of mods, or like if you're like me, you're in VR. There's just some people out there, they couldn't get fertility mode to run right. All right. The best shot you had was Naru's fertility mode, because it was very elegantly written, simple script, and for what it did, it was crazy. But you know, there was just issues with it in these newer mod pack. People are starting to put thousands and thousands. It's not uncommon now. You know, everybody playing Skyrim's pretty much a power user at this point. You know, nobody's just putting in 50 mods anymore like yesteryear and calling it a day. People are running thousands of mods in their mod packs. You know, even the most frugal people are probably running about 500. So, and you have people that don't have systems like 4090s and 13900Ks, 14900Ks and stuff. So there was a need to kind of fill a gap with fertility mode, where I wanted to keep some of the basic principles of the original mod. And you know, Subhuman had his version out there, which, you know, he expanded the original fertility mode quite a bit. My goal has been trying to get this thing to perform in larger mod packs. There was a lot of race conditions. You know, a couple of things would hit a thread at the same time and crash the game. There was all these things. I figured out where those things were. I staggered things out. I tried to, you know, I tried my best to make it where this thing would operate. And then I started working on the storage structures. Now, the reason why I tell you guys to be careful about the plugins is because I don't think you guys, if you guys don't know what a data array is, it stores information, okay? And that's how this mod really works. All right. Now the problem is sometimes what happens is somebody will program and they'll keep the array going, okay? There were some tricks that could be used to keep. There's a couple of things that could happen. One thing that can happen is the array just keeps bloating. Okay, it keeps getting bigger and bigger, and every female in Skyrim will take up a spot in that array, and that becomes a problem because that bloats a save file. So you have to figure out how to manage that array. The other issue is desyncing can occur. So what I tried to do is I tried to prevent desyncing, and it came at a bit of a cost. It came at a bit of a cost of RAM, but you know, it's with most people's systems, it's not going to be an issue. But I took that approach to kind of bolster that array structure as best I could, and you know, prevent desyncing, because I don't trust Skyrim. It runs on a potato. So and how I basically tried to put what I could in here. It's not pretty, but it has a zero trust policy for anything. I put checks on, you know, if somebody dies, that baby disappears. All right. If A pregnant woman dies, she is completely wiped from the array. Now the array has a max. I went ahead and went with the max papyrus. In theory, with SKSE installed and stuff, I could have went. I don't know. I probably could have done who knows how many different slots for the array, but the bigger the array gets, the more performance. So I settled on expanding the child array, the adult child array, up to 220. That's well over the standard Skyrim limit for an array of 128 in papyrus, and it piggybacks off that off the plugins, the mod plugins and stuff. So basically, you can think of an array as think of it as a hotel, okay? And when you start out the game, in some mods, the hotel only has one room, and there's rooms across the hall from one another, right? So you could think of the father staying across the hall in the hotel room from the mother, okay? All right, that's it. And what happens is sometimes these rooms shift, and the next thing you know, the father's across the hall from another mother. Okay, that's called desyncing. And then next thing you know, you look at your pregnant woman, and the father's a different person and stuff like that. That could happen in Skyrim because of its engine; it's unstable. So the other thing that can happen is if you have if you don't do cleanup or you don't control it, the other thing that can happen is that you could just keep building these rooms, okay? And you could keep building this hotel until it gets incredibly crazy, and then when a woman's done being pregnant and she moves out of that room, then you keep building these rooms, but nobody ever moves back in, right? That's the data. So you build these like data gaps as you keep building bigger and bigger and bigger arrays, and that'll cause save bloat. So the way I've done it is I've set up the hotel where I open up a few rooms, okay, and when those rooms are filled up, the pregnant women or women who are active, they go into a little hotel room, okay, and then I add another hotel room, all right, and I keep expanding that hotel room by one up to 128, okay. Now what happens when that woman dies? Well, that's why I have PO3. PO3 is my hotel worker, right? PO3 is going to go in there. He's going to knock on the doors and say, hey, are you in here? And if the answer is yes, he's going to close the door and he's going to leave the woman in there, right? She's going to stay in your array. That's going to be the pregnancy that's being tracked. If the answer is no, he cleans out the room. And he puts the room up ready. It's no longer under vacancy. It's ready to move in for the next person. So these array slots are getting reused. And that's good practice. All right. That means it's not going to bloat. It'll go up to 128. It'll stop. All right. Even if it gets there. The way that it should be designed is if I build 8 rooms and there's 2 women that move out, those other 2 women will fill those empty rooms before it moves another woman into a new room. I hope that made sense, because that's the only way I know how to explain it. So it's a lot of data management, and what that data management does is it makes it incompatible. Okay, it's completely incompatible with the old fertility mode because of that. That's the biggest deal. That's why I'm telling you guys, the plugins, if they look for information that is tied to an array, it's not going to work. If you and that includes, like, somebody told me that Fertility Adventures works, and I think that's mostly a dialogue mod or whatever the case may be. That might be true, But if that dialog mod tries to read information in an array and it's not the information it expects, it's going to come back and either do one or two things. Either it's not going to recognize what the hell that is and it's going to crash, or it's going to say something ridiculous, right? Or it's not going to know how to respond. It's probably just not going to know how to respond, or it's going to confuse a response with what should have been another response. So that's just how that's going to work. Other mods that are dependent on that array structure are not going to work. Okay, they're just not. So, and there's a lot of plugins that are probably looking for that, and if it does, and they bake in their data and they go to search that array structure that I've put in, it's going to break your whole game. And not only that, depending on the plugin you installed, the golden rule is you could just start a new game and clear your override file. Well, sometimes that doesn't work, man. Sometimes that shit will get baked into the co-save with SKSE. Sometimes it'll get baked into like a bunch of other different documents that you don't even realize are taking part in your game, JSON files and stuff like that. They're interconnected with other mods, and next thing you know, your real only solution is to either hunt down those specific files and get rid of them. And by the way, if you got a Nuka co-save for SKSE, that save is fried. The ESS file, anyway, it's probably going to be fried. So there's a lot of ways that, and Skyrim's terrible about that. It likes to really has this proclivity to hold on to data and not let go of it. And it'll run old script instances. It'll just keep going with them. That's why when you use Resaver, you plan that out. You always go into the smallest room, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You go in the smallest room, you figure out what mod you're going to try to get rid of, you cook Resaver up, and then you load back into that small room with nothing in it, and you wait like 10 to 30 days because you're trying to get the script caching to go away so it doesn't affect your current game. Skyrim has a tendency to remember data, and and that's what I'm trying to explain to you users. And I'm not going to go into about that lecture anymore. So I get in the comments all the time, well, I downloaded this mod, it seems fine. Yeah, it seems fine right now. Okay. But if it's not a textures and meshes pack, you're taking a risk. And I'm not going to help you try to figure it out. Because when this mod released, it's working, and I've tested it every time. Now, enough with the lecture. I'm going to go into the features of this. So I decided to create kind of a new video of it. And this is the release of 1.1 beta.1. I call it beta because I have not extensively tested it. I have been testing it for the last couple of days. It's working well on my save. Added a couple of things under the hood, and there's a couple of things I missed that I had to take care of, little bugs here and there. So I'll go ahead and tell you about a couple of big ones. So what I did was I added a randomized duration for pregnancy. So you can click on that, and then you get a duration variance. So a 30-day pregnancy is just like 15%. You can do 50, right? If you wanted, you could do 5. So if you decide to extend your pregnancy out by 30 days, that means your pregnancy could happen between 25 and 35 days. Okay, but this is only going to work for new pregnancies only if you upgrade, okay? So if you upgrade while you already have a woman pregnant, she's going to have a normal timed birth, but the next pregnancy you have, it will have that duration variance on it. I like my stuff predictable. So, as you can see, the Power of 3 is working very nicely. The other minor tweak I did was somebody actually complained to me about having 0 on the page number. And that's just habit. Papyrus numbers everything from 0 onward. So I'm sure that's what happened with Nauru, and it's just one of those things. I went ahead and fixed that. It's kind of silly, but fixed it. And for those of you who don't know, this is the first time you're watching a video, what makes this fertility mode really different is not only the performance aspects of it, the idea that I'm trying not to blow up people's stuff. I can't guarantee it. I'm not perfect, okay? But I'm trying, all right? I'm trying to make a stable fertility mode that's going to hopefully last a long playthrough. That's my goal, all right? But the biggest thing that I did was the training system. When you have a kid, and I'll go ahead and show you, this does not support special races, okay? First of all, if I was going to do like a goblin race or a dragon race or whatever the hell's out there, I would have to have a baby model for that. And I don't have baby models for that. I'm not a 3D artist. These came from people that are way more talented than I am in creating 3D models. This is a mod this was not my mod, all right? I don't know how to use Blender. I've never tried to use Blender, and if I did, it would probably come out looking like a finger painting. So that's the first reason why additional races, I'm probably not going to support it. Second reason is because if I support new races, the way I've categorized the array structure now is if I decide in the future to expand it for the adult children, for example, I might want to add in that you can send them to High Hrothgar to become, a graybeard or whatever the case may be, right? Maybe I'll expand it for that. Weird, you'd have to. I don't know what a graybeard would do in your party, but the point is, I guess I can give them shouts. But the point is that you would. I've wrote the arrays in such a way where I can expand the classes easy. Because if I grow the array, it's not going to be a problem. I just tack on more, right? The problem becomes if I start putting stuff in the middle of it. Okay, and adding new races would require that, or it would require some crazy math or a different array structure. It would be a lot of work, and it would be risky, and I don't want to take risks. Sorry, that's just my. I know I'm not the fun guy. Okay, I'm not pimping your ride. Okay, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give you a 1984 Honda Civic hatchback that's going to go 500,000 miles. All right. If you're one of those people that want that, then this is for you. If you're not, then you need to go check out Subhuman stuff. He's already got like a smorgasbord Christmas tree, like filled with shit. Okay, that's not what I'm doing here. Let me go ahead and show you. I'll go ahead and show you. We'll pick her. She looks like a good candidate. I'm gonna say I'm really tall right now. I gotta adjust my VR. Okay. Let's see if I got her. Okay, yeah, I did. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna force her to have a kid so I can show you this real quick in case you didn't see the other video. I'm gonna just go ahead and tell her to give birth. I'm the father, and I'll just force grow the baby. And the menu is gonna pop up here. All right, it's a girl. Now, this is for if you're in VR, all right? This mod can work on desktop, all right? I've been asked a bunch of times about that. It's not just for VR. You can, there's a setting, under the settings, you can click back on the keyboard, and you can use it on desktop. I just designed and tested it on my side in VR, All right, so I went ahead and named my baby. All right, so I'm going to go in my children's menu. When that menu opens up for whatever reason, you got to back out of the MCM. So I got a child now. So what's going to happen is I have a child. Now this is your command center for your children. Okay. You're going to have a bunch of different options that you could do. This child is going to sit here no matter what. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and get two. Let me get two children.
Need something?
Oh wait, I don't know
You
what
can
I'm
catch
thinking.
me at the Blue Pound.
I was gonna just talk her into give me a baby. I need a baby. All right, let's see. All right. I don't recommend using debug, by the way. This is just for testing. I have another girl, so I'm gonna call her Runa.
Later, if you want to talk.
All right. And now Runa's grown up. Okay, so now what I have here is and this is perfect actually that I got two girls because I could show you this. Now what I have here is under my children, I have two small children waiting assignment. I have a couple of choices. I'm going to select your right now, okay? And once I select her, you'll see all these other options come up. You see this option, send to Honor Hall Orphanage? All that does is get rid of the name, all right? It gets rid of that name and gives you a chance to rename a baby. That's just what do you call it? Like a lore-friendly way, you know? So, dramatic or whatever they call it. All right, so basically, you can send her to training, and that's going to send her away for a while. As you can see, it's going to cost 2,000 gold. It's going to take 60 days. And, of course, that's all adjustable. Or you can do a Hearthfire adoption if you have the beds, okay, in the house. No, you don't get to select where you're going to move them to the house. It's going to select your nearest house. Go to that house. Tell them to move. Okay. So it says this will create a permanent child if you click yes. All right. I click yes. I'll back out. And then I'll say make a permanent child. It's going to tell me I don't have any valid homes for adoption. Okay. I need a house with child's bed. All right. So I go back to not yet. And then I'll say, okay, well, I can't adopt her. So, all right. Well, I got all these other places. Well, I don't have 2,000 gold. Right. But I've got your Vasker, make her a warrior. I've got College Winterhold, make her a mage. Those were originals, part of the original mod. And the difference in this one, too, is all 220 kids look different. I can't make them look genetically like the parents, okay? I tried that. I tried hair color and coating and stuff, and I tried eye color, and I tried... It doesn't matter what I tried. The point is I tried a lot of stuff. I even tried to use, like, J containers to mark chroma ID and all. It just did not work. Okay. It was coming back negative values, and Papyrus does not do negative. So I just left it as is. Your Vasker, 2,000 gold, become a major warrior. You got the Bard's College, the Rebellion, which is the Stormcloaks, Castle Dower, which is the Imperials, the College of Whispers. This is a little different take on the mage. If you send them there, you want them to come back as a necromancer. And then there's Stendar's Beacon, okay? You come back as a vigilant. Sort of like a paladin. I tried to cover every class here. Now, here's the thing. The way this works is if you're in a faction... Now, you could toggle this on if you want. But if you're in a faction, you'll have other things open up to you, like the Cistern for a thief, the Sanctuary for a Dark Brotherhood, Skyhaven Temple if you're in if you're in the Blades, and Fort Dawnguard. They can come back as a vampire hunter if you join Dawnguard. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll 0 gold. We'll say 0 gold. And training duration is just 1 day. We'll make it 1 day, okay? So the other thing I did is I have some measures in place to prevent you from doing something that'll bloat up your game and make for a terrible experience. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make Ear a thief. Okay, we're gonna send her for training, and she's been sent to the cistern. She's gonna populate on that list. She's in training. Normally that's 60 days. I did it for 1 day just to show you guys. And then we're gonna take Runa. Okay. And we're going to select the training location, and we're going to try the cistern. Okay, and we're going to send for training. Yep, same race, gender, already training there. Okay, you can't send, and there's a reason why I do that, and it's for a good reason. It's to prevent you from creating a duplicate form ID of the same person. Okay, because that can cause issues. All right, so Runa. Well, she can't become a thief. She's a girl. So we have a couple other options. We can attempt adoption. Now, if this were a boy Nord, we can send him and we can have a boy Nord thief. If I were a Breton and she were a Nord and she was my partner, then I could just switch over and have Breton kids, 2 Breton kids, and then have 2 Nord kids, and I can have 4 thieves in my family if that's what I wanted to do. So the other thing, so we can't send her there. So what we're going to do is we're going to send her to, why not, the Bard's College. She can go learn how to be a smooth talker, right? All right. So she went to the Bard's College. Ear went to the cistern. So I got a thief and a bard. All right. So I'm going to wait. We're going to wait until they're done training. That's a day. Now, it's not going to tell you when they're done training. I thought about doing that, popping up a message, but then it would have to tick every so often. And I thought, I'll just update as the MCM menu opens, so I decided to do that path instead. So you just have to kind of keep track of it. Hey, I got a baby in training, and then go and pick them up when they're ready. So here you go. All this is empty. Now, you have a total of 2 children right now. So you can summon them all if you wanted. And by the way, you can dismiss all and you can put them back into this MCM menu holding area. But if you start getting up to like 100 kids or something crazy, don't do that. Don't summon them all. That's what I call derp. So I'm just going to go ahead and summon them all at once and get them out here. And then it's going to tell me how many are following me. I summoned 2 adult children. I'll back out. They should appear. All right.
Good evening.
And
Good
here
evening.
they are.
Good. Need something?
All right. As you can see, she looks a little different than the regular fertility mode mod. And I just say,
Lead the way.
follow me. And
Need something?
here's Runa. Follow me,
Lead the
Runa.
way.
Okay. So, there are my 2 kids, my 2 daughters. And that's it. Now, you might see some messages if you have other mods come up. I name them something different, like, Nord thief daughter of, player name or whatever. Player's Nord thief daughter or whatever. And that's because I had to give them some name, because you actually do the naming of them. So I couldn't just name them stuff, right? So, anyway, that's just the system name. If you have like an AI mod or something like that, it should be reading the name on the screen anyway. So this is basically how the new child system is set up. And you can have as many of them following you as you want, as far as I know. I guess that's going to depend on, your system. If you want to have 20 kids following you around. They all come back with certain abilities. They come back as experts, okay? Not necessarily that it's useful. Bards, I gave something useful to. I gave them the ability to do illusion magic, because speechcraft and singing isn't exactly a great useful skill, but I thought I would put bards in there for roleplay purposes for people. And she has got like some thickness. All right,
Fish sounds like just the thing today.
so does it? Fresh fish. That's funny. You should comment on Advar's stuff. So, well, it's showing a daytime. Show you a little bit. And another thing too is if we're okay, you. So as you can see, she doesn't look like a normal NPC, but these were originally vanilla NPCs. And what? Stop! You come here. Look at us. Thank you. So as you can see, they come out depending on the kind of mods that you have, like High Poly Head or whatever the case may be, Mopocalypse or something like that. It'll chew them up and spit them out on the other side. Okay. I think we have a hairdo replacer too, so it makes their hair look a little better than the original. And I'm holding you like you're a mannequin. So, but you know, I tried to do my best with some of them. My best. So, but it's kind of hard when you're in Creation Kit and you're trying to, okay, is this going to look good when it gets spit out the other side of a massive mod list that I don't feel like loading up in the Creation Kit? It just friggin'. So anyway, but they are all going to come out looking unique, and that's it. And you can just keep rolling with it. They incorporate with NFF. So you can establish a home with them through NFF. I recommend that mod if you're going to have this one. And it's just, you know, those are some of the things I've done to kind of expand the fertility mode on the user end. There is a whole lot of options I did, like separating the vampire race and stuff like that. I go into that in another video. And but I recommend that you download 1.0.1-b, because I did forget. I was wondering why in larger areas in VR I was getting smaller stutters, and I forgot an instance of a get actor and sell instance on polling, and I had to remove that. That was my bad. I was leaving that in for testing to see if PO3 was work, and I was comparing the two. I forgot to take it out. So and PO3 is like way faster, and I'm going to show you just how fast it is. I staggered it off to a half second so it didn't overload the VM, because PO3 can just it'll just read everybody in a cell automatically as soon as you enter it. So I kind of lined them up and made them stagger out so it didn't overload or cause conditions. It was a balancing act. All right, so every half second somebody's going to pop, all right? So we'll go in here and we'll look if Deja, who's way down at that dock, should be showing up on this tracking soon. Oh, she's already here. That was pretty quick. So it picked up everybody in the cell. Okay. And it looks like it picked up everybody. And the best part is it doesn't have to do the polling. What's going to happen is as soon as if anybody enters, okay, PO3, what these NPCs do is they make an announcement like, I'm here, and PO3 goes, you here? Good. Slap you on the list. Okay. And it does the same thing. Basically everything's event-based managed now. So when you fast travel, if you're gone from an area for 48 hours, PO3 looks at a timestamp. Like as soon as I walked into the cell, all the women that put on the list, it counts the men too. You just don't see them. But everybody that's put on a list is got a timestamp. It's 48 hours, okay? Now you can extend that however much you want. I don't recommend you growing your array to the max size, all right? But polling still happens, but it happens inside the array for active women. If the women's, it does a bunch of stuff. Like, so the timestamp thing, if you fast travel after 48 hours, you don't come back to a place. PO3 is constantly looking at, when you go through a loading screen on the other side, what timestamp are these people? What time is it now? So, Chim's activated, by the way. Chim's an excellent mod. I know some people don't like AI. I'm a sucker for it. So, anyway, the Salty Throat. Who the hell's that? That must be an NPC from a mod. So, anyway, when PO3 puts a timestamp on people, or looks at a timestamp, it's got a 6-hour cooldown, okay? So it's not going to be constantly erasing your list as you exit and enter through places, okay? So it's not going to be constantly checking all the time. I didn't want it to do that. It has a 6-hour in-game cooldown. And then if they've exceeded the time, if you're hanging out in a place, it's been 48 hours and you don't go back into that place, okay? Because PO3 is going to check first if that NPC is 3D loaded. And if that NPC is not 3D loaded, that NPC is off the list. All right? And that's how the list management goes. If you find that your list is if you're one of those people that just can't stay still and you're traveling all over the place and going from city to city, you might want to turn that down to just a few hours to kind of keep that list small. But you have control over the list. And that's another thing that I did too, is I made the list more interactive. In the original Fertility mode, I put these in the debug. They included to clear all tracked NPCs or clear all tracking including the player if you're a woman. That's good, if stuff's happening. Una's pregnant. Oh, that's her recovery day. That's because I debugged her. Okay, so they'll stay on the list up until recovery. If they have a baby, it'll say baby day. It'll let you know they got a baby. But you'll see all these people on the list here, right? All these women. And if you see it getting full and you're like, man, that's a lot of women. I don't want to go through all that. And you notice they don't have anything going on. A sperm will be an exclamation point. Vivian Onus has sperm, so she's probably not going to be on the list. Yvette San is pregnant with Rogvir's child, as you know. And we have a bunch of women. Iris is pregnant with my child. Ooh, I better be careful. All right, so we have all these women, right? They don't have egg, they don't have sperm going on. So what we could do here is just clean them up. Okay, we clean up our list, and it'll confirm. This will remove any women who have no sperm, no viable egg, no pregnancy, not in recovery, no father data. Okay, and this is a kind of a safe cleanup. So this is only going to give you the women that matter on your list. And you go, okay. And then it takes a little bit, but then it'll clean up 13 inactive women, okay? And it gets rid of them. They're gone. But you have 13 rooms open. When more women come in, those 13 rooms are filled up first, so we don't get bloat. So now you might be like, well, why is she on the list? And why is she on the list? They don't have anything. Well, that's because they have an egg, but it's been expired. All right. I put an element in here called egg life. At first, it was a redundancy because I was having issues with women falling off the tracking list. So then I bolstered a protection to keep them on, and then I was just so damn good at it, they wouldn't come off. So I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And so that's where PO3 kind of stepped in. And egg life is a whole nother system. I designed it because if I remember correctly, when I first did this, I was fast traveling, and I noticed that there was some kind of logic where the fast travel can override a viable egg, even though you should have gotten a pregnancy. And so I changed that up. I established egg life. And then I realized that egg life was pretty important. It was different from cycle duration. Cycle duration, there's so much stuff that it depends on. So what I did was I attached the detect fertility spell to the actual egg life. So when you use detect fertility, you're not gonna make a woman, like under normal situations, an expired egg would glow blue because she was technically in her cycle duration, and I believe that's how the original mod worked. Yeah, I don't know. Naru can come out and slap me if I'm wrong. But I believe that's how the original mod worked. So what I did was I adjusted the detect fertility spell to detect the actual point where you could get them pregnant, which is, 5 days of living sperm. And I overlapped that with a 2-day egg life, which was quite generous because egg life usually doesn't last that long in human beings. It's only about a day. So, you might find that even though that the women are glowing blue, you do the deed with them, or maybe you don't. Maybe you're playing it safe for work and you notice they get randomly selected or you use the spells. You might find that they don't get pregnant. Well, that's because there's in the original mod there was a 33% chance roll. You can adjust that in settings where, basically if you have over 100 sperm count and they got 100% roll, you'll get them pregnant every time. Okay. If you're using NSFW, you can make OSTEM go wild, man. Especially if you have OSTEM NPCs. I don't know about Sex Lab. I don't use Sex Lab, but OSTEM can make some babies. I'm just going to tell you that now. And the NPC API, or the metadata that I was going to connect to NPCs, for whatever reason, I couldn't get that specific thread to listen. And I don't know why. I felt like it should have worked, but it just wouldn't for me. I might go back and revisit that. But as far as the player goes, wherever you do the business and wherever you shoot, it's going to recognize, okay? And that's in OSTEM, I know for a fact. I believe I have that down in Sex Labs too, according to what people are reporting, the alpha testers that were reporting it. But OSTEM is dialed in, I know that for a fact, for the player. With NPCs, it's a little different story, okay? Orgasm can happen in midair, okay? And it'll be a fertility event. I just kind of left it like that because, one, you don't really run across NPCs doing it that much on OSTEM unless you crank it up to ridiculous. And so that kind of gives them a chance to have pregnancies and stuff like that at random. And two, because I couldn't figure it out in a decent amount of time without banging my head up against the wall. So yeah. The other thing is that I think that's about it. Oh yeah, NPC babies do not grow up to be real humans. That's the same as the original fertility mode. You're the only father that can make a new 3D loaded Form ID character. Okay, so you ain't gotta worry about is your Skyrim gonna wind up bloating to 3,000 people. That doesn't happen in fertility mode. The baby just kind of hangs around for as long as the baby life is. It disappears. They're on recovery, and they fall off the list, and the baby's born, and that's how that works. So let's see here. I think that's about it as far as all that goes. There's a bunch of other stuff. We can go ahead and get rid of them. By the way, oh yeah, you can get rid of women. It doesn't matter what's going on. Like Una's in recovery. I could just say, hey, you know what? I want her off the list. She gone. Right? So that's another difference too. The widget. I'm not playing as a female right now. I might need to do a little work on the widget. If you're playing as a female, don't touch that, because when you activate it, deactivate it, it stays on. I'm gonna figure out how to fix that. I haven't got around to doing that yet, but I'm gonna figure out how to make that not do that, because the widget now is different. It's much smaller, very very small, and it could be transparent or semi-transparent, so it doesn't get in the way all the time. and it's not always on. It's supposed to only happen during events, and it's supposed to measure, like it's supposed to be a timing meter, all right, up until a baby's born. And then once that baby's born, it should be a health bar, and I believe that's just the way it was the original. I didn't change any of the effects. The only thing I did was change sort of like the color. I thought I put green in there. I could have swore I did, but for whatever reason, it's not registering now, but it was registering in my test. And I don't know if I switched something up or did something, but green was supposed to be in your fertile, and the numbers, I don't know what happened with that. So I must have crossed something up with a file and a widget. So I have to go back and look at that. But the widget's going to be in another update. I'm not too worried about it. It's not game breaking right now. It'll just be a nice have later for a fix. My main thing is making sure the engine's running. If there's a, if there's a scratch in the leather seat, that's going to be one of the last things on my list.
I'm not here to cause problems either. Just keeping
Okay.
an eye on things while my associates
Nice. They're already talking.
seem like we know your way around these tunnels.
So,
Passed earlier.
if you have an AI,
Or if
if you have AI, what you're going to have to do, like if you're using Mentel or Chim, is you're going to have
We're
to
not
build
looking
profiles
for
for them.
trouble, Guard. Just helping a friend with some business down here.
So she doesn't know that,
No need to
I'm her father and stuff. So, you're gonna have to create a new profile for them. I think Mantella doesn't. I think Mantella only needs a screen name. I think Chim for most part only needs a screen name. But you can you also use Form ID. And I'm sure most of you know how to do that via console. Kind of figure out their Form ID. That's it. That's all I got. This mod works great for my setup. It works great for a lot of other people's setups. It's had over... I'm kind of shocked. I never wanted to be a mod author. I still don't. I don't want to be a mod author. I never had any desire. I just love this mod, and I wanted it to be something cool, and I realized that it would be wrong for me just to hoard it. So, I might throw up a couple of other patches I made or something like that, but I don't have any plans on doing any major overhauls or anything like that in the future. I got a lot of other things I do. I grade models in my spare time, I guess for fun. I don't know why I do that, but I rank them and stuff like that, and that's a whole separate project that I need to really get back to, because a lot of people, I'm surprised so many people even depend on me for that kind of stuff. And the other thing is that, if I make little small patches here and there, it'll probably mostly geared toward VR, like an O-body spell. I spent all this time making an O-body spell only to realize that somebody told me I could have used like Spell Wheel VR, and I did the idiot route. But I might just post a spell up there anyway, so that people can just have a spell when they start the game to change their body or whatever in VR, because it's kind of a pain in the butt if you're going to hit O on the keyboard, or if you don't you don't know how to set up Spell Wheel or something. So there's some other things I did. I got a test like some Python stuff I did that might be good for Skyrim. I don't know if I'm going to drop it or not, but it kind of, like, sometimes Xedit doesn't like to remove masters, so I was trying to figure out a safe way to remove masters, and I have to test it out. It's because it kind of cleans it up without compressing it, the rest of the form IDs and stuff like that, but I don't know. Skyrim has that binary thing going on, so I don't know exactly how sensitive that is. I'm still testing that out. If it turns out to be pretty good, I'll go ahead and put it up there, but I don't want to put anything up there that's going to break people's stuff. That's all I got. If you watched this video this whole time, and you haven't been bored to death, I appreciate it. I've got to get going. My goal for fertility mode is to just kind of keep it running. That's my goal. So, like I said before, I just want a working fertility mode that is going to work in every mod pack. I got to go because my battery's going to die. All right. I'll see you guys later. Bye.